Good day, fellow geeks. On this week's episode of Geeks of Azeroth, we're going to be talking about Garrosh Hellscream. We're going to talk about toxic Overwatch players and 77 days. All that and more in this week's episode of Geeks of Azeroth.
You're listening to the Blizzard Community Podcast, produced by geeks, for geeks. Welcome to Geeks of Azeroth.
Hello, welcome to the show. My name's Tarley. Welcome to episode 126 of Geeks of Azeroth. That's 126 times that we are sitting down in front of you to talk to you about a game called World of Warcraft. I already said my name's Tarley. I've got with me, as always, I've got SleepyGary.
How's it going?
And I've got Sleepy Britzza.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit sleepy. Thank you.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Delayed response, I'll take it.
I feel like I don't know what circumstances was call for me to say things were going bad. Like, if there was fire coming out of my desktop, then yeah, that's probably...
Right, like mine, currently.
Yeah, like yours.
Almost mine, too.
Okay, the podcast might be ending prematurely any minute.
What have you been up to, Britzza? How's your week been?
So, I have gone a bit insane and thrown myself back into Overwatch ranked play. I've no idea
you
why.
You and me both, buddy.
It's awful. It's a truly... Admittedly, this time was less toxic than last time. I wasn't getting shouted at by Frenchmen. But it's just... how could I put it? If there was a button that I could just press, or like an option I could click in the screen to say, do you want to count this as 10 losses and get it over and done with? I would pay good money to click that button. It's just a huge, huge grind fest in losing, which I imagine reflects on me a bit, but yeah, hopefully now I've settled the main matches. I can play with people of my own ability, which is probably 5-year-olds. Other than that, a bit of Legion, a bit of Heroes. Been getting back into Heroes in prep for Garrosh coming out. Really excited to pick him up when he's released. And also, like, not necessarily game related, but I was doing some Suramar stuff with Dracass, and it dawned on me that one of the giveaways for the current Heroes of the Storm event the one that just ended, the summer event, they were giving away 10 Illidan statues, those proper gorgeous Illidan statues. And I wanted to look and see what was being done with the Overwatch statues. And they've just released the new Diva one, which is like $450. It's gorgeous, but expensive. And to cut a long story short, I just decided to go and order the Widowmaker one because, as I said to you guys, I haven't given Blizzard enough money, clearly. And I thought that was the best way to do it. So that's going to be winging its way over to me at some point in the next 5 years. And awesome. It's going to be good. So I've awesome. For someone who casually plays Overwatch, I've decided to really jump in the deep end of memorabilia at the moment. Most people buy a hat, and I just spend $150 on a statue.
We've talked about Overwatch has this effect on people, like whether or not you even actually like play the game to a competitive. Yeah, we see the hat, Gary. Whether or not you play the game regularly, you play it to a competitive level. People have just fallen in love with the characters and the art style and everything about Overwatch, even if you don't really play it. Like the Blizzard community just seems to love that game. So completely understand why you'd buy a statue even if you don't really play the game.
I won't buy the Diva one though. I'm pretty sure
that's a lot of money. Gary, what have you been up to?
I upgraded my PC and started tanking for a raid. I think that's new since last time. Yeah. So I'm excited for it. Monks are the greatest for everything. Except DPS, but it's still the most entertaining DPS spec I've ever played. So, yeah, if you want to enjoy WoW, play Monk. Then, yeah, worried about the PC a little bit. It's doing much better today than it was last night during raid.
It's because someone didn't put thermal paste on their new CPU like an idiot.
This may or may not have happened.
$10 fire extinguisher will solve that.
Yeah. That's all I need, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's good. I'm excited for it. I'm really considering trying to delve more into the content creation side of things, because I've got a CPU that's essentially built for stuff like that. So, might as well take advantage of it, see if I can't start recording some videos and do YouTube and such, and maybe even test out my internet, see how it handles streaming, and see if it was maybe just my old CPU keeping me down from that. Probably not, but might as well give it a shot, right?
Yeah, might as well. And pretty much polar opposite of Gary, my computer is just taking a dive, which is very ironic because we've had this this thing ever since I've known Gary that I've had to make sure my computer is better than his. And so, it's like the universe is giving me a sign as soon as he upgrades his PC. Like, it's the reason we're not streaming this episode. My computer is just tanking. Its performance is going downhill and downhill. I believe it's my CPU. I don't think it's my graphics cards. It could be. But either way, I've already started ordering parts, and my computer will be once again better than Gary's in no time at all. So that's happening.
You're not running XP, are you, Tarley? Because they just announced that WoW's not going to support XP, and your computer's now going downhill. So I suspect.
No,
you're
I am
XP.
on Windows 10. I'm on Windows 10. Unfortunately, I hate Windows 10, but I'm on it. What have I done this week? So I've started to make progress on the video that I said I was going to make, which is way more extensive than I thought it would be, trying to gather footage for every single class. But it's I'm going to do the video for all 12 classes, kind of rating them from my least favorite to my favorite. So that'll be a thing. Look forward to on the Epic Geeks channel. Whenever I have time to finish that. Otherwise, I've been rating both teams. I tried out for a Mythic team this week on my Monk. That was interesting.
Good.
I didn't get in.
Oh,
I didn't get in. But honestly, I probably wouldn't have wanted to be in anyway because they weren't nearly as memey and as awesome as Platinum Edge. So it was all good. I got a Mythic boss down, and I'm now 9 of 9 heroic. So at least there's that.
What was the step up to Mythic like?
I thought I was an elitist in WoW. Oh. No, these guys were hardcore. They wanted me to have like 3 different sets of pants, with all different stat lines for each boss. It's like, what, are you kidding? I didn't realize it was like that. But, I mean, Mythic Goroth, he was easier than Heroic Kill Jaden, so, I mean, it's not bad. Just
do what I do and wear heirloom gear. That's good enough.
Yeah. I should have just shown up to the trial with the heirlooms on. Like, I'm ready to go!
Just transport them to look like super epic gear. No one will notice. People don't inspect. Hardly.
Other than WoW, been playing a lot of Overwatch and Heroes and StarCraft 2. So, keeping it balanced. Without further ado, I guess it's time to jump right into it. News of the week.
Hey, we recording? Yeah? Okay.
News of the week. All right, it's time for news of the week. And, first off, we already knew Garrosh was coming, #NotMyHellscream, but we had the in-development video released this week, and it shows both in-development videos, the one that shows off his kit, and the video that shows off the skins and other skins coming along with the Garrosh patch. No surprise to anybody, he is definitely a tanky character, with a lot of displacement abilities, which will make him interesting. Gary or Britzza, I'd like to hear your opinion more. Personally, I don't play tanks very often in Heroes of the Storm, so it's not really someone I'm necessarily excited about. What do you guys think?
Well, we were wrong for the start, like on everything else.
No, we're never wrong. What are you talking about?
I was really hoping for some sort of dive mechanic, but they've just totally gone away with that. Like you say, they've gone for typical tank. I don't know. I'm trying to collect my thoughts as I bring them together. Gary?
I'm really intrigued by him, honestly. I wish the skin and name for the character was different. Because Grom could totally fit the same stat line. But overall, I really like how his abilities work. at least in theory and, what they showed in the video. And I'm excited to play him. I think I'm going to give him a shot and see, because he looks like he's going to be ridiculous amounts of fun to play, honestly. And there's just some really weird things that you can do with him, potentially, that I'm super excited for, because they're going to be hilarious. Just like when Stukov first released and no one expected the arm to come out and just knock them, all the way across the map. I don't know, do you want to just get into his abilities real quick and his kit?
Yeah, might as well.
Alright. So, his Q is going to be Groundbreaker, deals damage in kind of a cone in front of him, and if the enemy's on the very edge of that cone, what it'll do is it'll bounce them up into the air and knock them back to you. So, really good at catching people who are fleeing, or potentially even peeling away from, your back line. I could see it used for both reasons. Then his W is going to be Bloodthirst, deals a little bit of damage to an enemy near him, and then he heals for 10% of his missing health. That goes up to 20% against enemies. So, essentially, half of the reason we're saying he's so tanky is because of this Bloodthirst. Because, if you're at half health and you hit a hero with it, that's 10% of your health on
20%.
Well, it'd be 10%, because it's 20% of the half you're missing.
Oh, of course, yep.
Yeah.
I haven't got to do math, have I?
But super solid heal, good way to keep him in the front line, and it looks like his W's got a fairly short cooldown. I didn't see... Yeah, it's not listed on the website, but it looked like it was pretty short. But the ability that makes me more excited for this character than anything else is his E. That's a Wrecking Ball. So you throw the nearest enemy hero, minion, or mercenary to a target location. Deals damage to them and enemies near the impact, slowing them, and then slows them by 30% for 2.5 seconds. So what I'm imagining is people are, trying to poke down your wall at the very beginning of the game, right?
I thought the same thing.
And you show up, and everyone's like, "Oh, we better get out of here." So you Q right when they're on the edge of it, knock them back towards your wall, and then just throw them over and
insta keep. Yeah.
And it seems like such a normal scenario that I think I can manage to do this in almost every game, and that is amazing to me. It's like being able to gorge with stitches at level 1.
Yeah. It's definitely going to change how people approach, the towers early on in game if there's a Garrosh on the other team, for sure. You're just always going to have to keep that in mind. You're not going to be able to push as hard if there's a Garrosh in your lane, plain and simple. So he's just got that intimidation factor to him, I guess.
Yeah, or you've got to hang on to all your cooldowns to be able to nip out of there if he does chuck you.
Right. I mean, like, a Genji would be alright, because a Genji, even if he does do that, you can just, nope, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Leap over the wall. And
potentially, Sylvanas would work for it too. Throw your wave one direction, hit the keep a couple times while you're waiting, and then teleport out. I mean, there's
just everybody play Abathur. I mean, let's be real. That's how the game should be played, so.
Yes. 5 Abathurs.
Yes.
You clone Abathur.
Uh-oh, that'd be weird. Yeah, but I mean, either way, he'll be interesting, though. I mean, definitely shake up the meta.
And
I was gone.
Heroic abilities, I take it is where you were going?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to start with Decimate, because it seems to be the worst of the two.
Yeah.
So he just kind of spins around in a circle, does a little bit of damage to everyone nearby, or all enemies nearby, slows them again by 30%, and then it deals increased damage to heroes, and each hero hit reduces its cooldown by 1 second. However, it does store up 3 charges, so it's something that you can kind of spam a little bit instead of just, use it once and then you gotta wait. But the big one that I'm excited for is Warlord's Challenge. silence nearby enemy heroes and force them to attack you for 1.5 seconds. So essentially, he's Tank Varian with an AoE.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels super broke.
So what it gives you a chance to do is, if you do get that team push against you towards a keep, you could just pop that, and while everyone's silent, just run up to, say, the healer, and just chuck them into either your team or behind the keep. It's just a really good way of just getting rid of a lot of people's mobility all of a sudden. And I think that's going to be the real issue, is that it's just people aren't... I think players are going to struggle. It's not so much their characters, it's people won't know what to do when they have no control of their characters for a second and a half.
Yeah. The other thing I really like about this is, like, so the Warlords Challenge, hitting everyone in an AoE, fantastic, yes. But it makes a lot of the current team comps feel a lot less viable, so I think it's going to shake up how the meta actually functions. Because right now, characters like Genji and Tracer and Greymane are all so incredibly popular, especially in like high-end competitive play. And Warlords Challenge is essentially built to be like, yeah, you're not going anywhere, you're not going to do anything, and you're squishy, so all that mobility that you got means absolutely nothing now. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that he's releasing now. I doubt Blizzard planned it when they started building this hero, because it was probably, conceived 6 months ago. But
9 months ago.
Yeah, maybe. But it's a great time for it to drop into the Nexus and to see how it'll shake up like the HGC.
Right, yeah.
That's all you need to say. Yeah.
Oh, and he gains 1 armor for every 2% of missing health. That's his trait. Yes. He is John Cena.
And his name is Garrosh Hellscream. Alright. So look forward to Garrosh hitting the Nexus soon-ish. Probably not this week next, but the following week, I would imagine.
Yeah, because this...
PTR
tomorrow,
this week.
Yeah, tomorrow will be PTR, and then following week normally is full release.
Next up on the agenda, Blizzard is going to be punishing toxic overplayer watches.
Over what bit of it?
Blizzard is going to be punishing toxic Overwatch players with harsher penalties, and it's effective immediately. And this is causing quite a stir, actually. You're able to report players, and people can be banned literally for a day if they're being toxic, which is a great idea in theory. But we've already had reported incidents of someone wanting to play Torbjorn, somebody who was they were a good Torbjorn, they played him regularly, but it's considered out of meta, and some elitist in quick play reported him for it, and he was banned for a day for playing Torbjorn.
Well, that should be a crime, to be honest.
So Blizzard had said that they were going to try to monitor every report, and that's obviously not possible because people report each other all the time. So it's obviously just an automated system. If you get your whole team to report someone because you don't like what they're doing, they're going to be banned for a day. So good in theory, but in practice, I can see it's not going to work, and they're going to have to adjust it pretty much immediately.
And part of this is that this only applies to the PC. Jeff Kaplan's come out and said that I think in a sense Blizzard wouldn't even know how to approach it on the consoles, because it's obviously you need Microsoft and Sony's input and support for a system like that. And I think there's a challenge here, isn't there? Because they're trying really hard, because esports is growing so quickly and it's getting a lot of attention. They're really trying to, I guess, get almost like a regulation system in there to show that this is a sport, and it is a sport that can be taken seriously, and it's not just nerds in basements calling each other fat and insulting their mums. They want to that's it. They want to kind of get over this immature perception of what esports and gaming really is. And like you say, the problem is how do you do it when technically anyone can insult anyone by doing anything in some respects, whether it's choosing the wrong team comp or, you know, teabagging someone or something like that. You don't know what's going to happen. So, yeah, I don't think this is going to be the last we hear of it, and I don't think you're going to see it. It's not going to run perfectly by any means. I think you're going to see more cases like what you've said, Tarley, which is people getting banned for really kind of weird reasons. Like me.
What do you think, Gary? I mean, do you think it should stay the way it is? Should it change?
I'm half and half on it. So I like the idea of harsher penalties for toxic players, because that's what prevents people from playing the game, right? Is toxic players. This is why I quit playing Overwatch for quite a while. It's why you quit playing Overwatch for quite a while. And, I mean, Overwatch was a game that both of us were in love with. And then the crowd of people got a hold of it, and it became almost unbearable to play because everyone expected you to be, you know, GM skill level, and everyone thought that they were GM skill level. And yeah, toxicity happens. That being said, getting banned for playing Torbjorn is kind of bad. Like, I wish they could monitor these a little bit better, and if you report someone for something that's BS, like, I'm gonna report this guy for playing Torbjorn, and then I'm going to play Genji because I feel like it and not help out the team. Can we just get a ban on that guy? Like, permanently, even?
What, the reporter?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask that. Is there, if I just start spamming reports, do I get flagged by Blizzard or something as a bit of a, you know, I don't know what the phrase is, but someone who just keeps spamming stuff that isn't necessarily worth their time?
You would think so.
Yeah,
as a doggo.
So. Like there's a cooldown on report or something, you know, if someone's just reporting everybody constantly. But it seemed like, I don't think it's going to be the case where one person can cause a ban either, but it's where an entirety, like a majority of the team reports the same person is where the ban would take place. So it obviously the troll has to do some trolling to convince everybody else to report the person as well. And it is just a weird state of the game because I can see that happening very easily. Like Torbjorn, for example, has such a negative view in the community's eyes that, yeah, everybody would probably hop on the bandwagon of reporting the guy playing Torbjorn. Even if he was playing Torbjorn well. It's just nobody plays Torbjorn anymore because he's considered bad. And because there's this whole idea that everybody on any skill level under GM still has to follow the meta, and that's not how the game works at all, but it's very strange. Very strange indeed. Overwatch has just gone, its community has risen up and down from being good when it first came out to just being kind of a toxic cesspool like League of Legends that it is now. But you can still have your fun and play it, and you can still theorize about new potential heroes coming into the game. Like that segue there? I sure do.
That was good.
So the potential of Overwatch's newest hero already is being revealed, kind of. Being data mined, maybe. Siren is potentially the name of the new hero, with a drawing that was supposedly, like, quote-unquote, data mined. There's a possibility that it's real history of her saying that she has a real hatred for the Omnics since the death of her mother in the Omnics in the Great War, whatever that was called. And so she was Reaper's boss in Talon, still works for Talon. All of these are rumors. There's an interesting drawing of her that Britzza found. She's got like a sword that turns into a whip, but people are saying it looks like really good fan art. There's nothing in-game, no in-game hints or anything from the developers to actually hint that Siren is the next hero, which once Blizzard starts hinting about a hero, they tend to put it in the game. What do you guys think?
The thing that hits me is that if it's not real, it's a really good replication of the art style and the character design that we've seen in Overwatch so far. Like one of the more obvious things is the fact it seems to be like she's got a cybernetic left arm, and most, if not the majority of Overwatch heroes have, inverted commas, a disability of some sort. They're missing an arm or a leg or something like that. And so these little nuances I think, add to it. They really do give the impression that this is something legit. But like you say, this isn't the way it would come out. This isn't... Blizzard would have had so much control over this. And one of the other things is that apparently there's almost too much information on this hero. Blizzard apparently doesn't really talk too much about heroes. I've never really noticed it, but apparently they don't talk too much about heroes' backgrounds when they're releasing them. They kind of just get the main stuff out of the way and then fill it in through the other, like the comics and things like that. So it would show a change there, if anything. So I think that's what's throwing people off, is that in a sense it's too much info for it to be a legit Blizzard thing. But saying that, talking about the important stuff, the hero concept looks pretty damn awesome, to be honest. I love the idea of a sword that can turn into a whip. Maybe that gives her some sort of like Roadhog pull ability or something like that. Or, I don't know, I imagine like some sort of Genji reflect ability where she could just like wave it around and stop bullets. So I think a lot of people want to see this hero now, but whether it's actually real or not, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't deny I'd want to see it as a hero, but I would say don't get your hopes up just yet. I mean, yeah, never mind. The point I was about to make is completely...
You know, honestly...
Sorry, go on.
So, yes, it's very close to Doomfist's release, which already should cast some doubt. But the other side of it is she's so very close to, like, Symmetra's appearance that it just makes me question whether or not she would ever hit the game. Because all of our heroes right now are very, very unique. Like, you don't look at any two heroes in the game and go, they look alike. Except maybe, hey, they're both robots. Like, that's the closest thing you've got right now. So, moving from that to Symmetra and this lady who looks pretty much like Symmetra, even with the same, biotic arm.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
It just feels fishy. Like, if this is a data mined image from Blizzard, I would feel
maybe
like
it's concept art for Symmetra originally.
Concept art for Symmetra, or maybe even concept art for a skin. Maybe they're planning on making the sword into her gun, since, you got the laser beam. I don't know how it would work, but it feels more probable than this being a new character, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it seems like there's heroes that we already know about, like, information, names, and other such things that we haven't seen come to light yet, but that point's kind of invalid because Orisa came out of nowhere, so it is possible, but I do think it's unlikely this is the next hero. It does seem like really good fan art. I mean, we've seen better fan art, like, if you all remember that concept here of the little old man from India with the gas tanks that he shot, like a hookah as a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was some really good concept art, all made by fans. So definitely possible, not hard to replicate if you're an artist. Anyway, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I guess it says a lot. It says a lot about the fans Overwatch has, where someone obviously, let's presume this isn't real, someone has enough passion to throw this together and even come up with UI designs for their abilities. Like if you go through to the Imgur link. So yeah, it's just really interesting. And in some ways, it's kind of like the fans taking over the development process. Because I imagine Blizzard probably may look at a couple of these heroes and think, God, actually, I wish we'd come up with that because that's a really cool hero. So who knows? You might start to see sort of crowdsourced heroes coming through into the game at some point.
I'd welcome that, definitely.
I'm thinking like a little jelly man who just goes around and I'm giving it much thought.
I still it was almost probably like at least 6 months ago. Gary and I sat here and we thought up a pirate hero. I still want that. Remember he had the grappling hook and could swing. Had the cannon as his ult. It was great.
Yeah, I recall that.
Yar.
But no, like I think doing stuff like this scratches a bit of an itch for about everyone. Like if you're into Overwatch, there's no way you haven't thought of, what would be a really cool hero? Like I know I've had these
Indiana Jones.
I've had these conversations so many times. You know what would be a great hero? You know what would be a great class in WoW? You know what would be a great hero in Heroes? Like, this is, I'd say probably 75% of our conversation headed to BlizzCon on, like...
Oh, they're going to announce this. Oh, they should totally announce this. They should totally add this.
Yeah. So, it doesn't surprise me that someone would do this. That being said, you know, maybe it's real. Maybe. It's possible. I mean...
But either way, we won't find out until BlizzCon, most likely. I highly doubt we're going to get a new hero announcement before then.
Poor Doomfist, though. He's been out for like a week, and already, like, most people are like, when's the next hero coming, Blizz?
Well, that's just the expectation that Blizzard has given us. I mean, Sombra was teased before Ana was released, so I mean, we know that's just how Blizzard works. And I hope they'll probably continue.
Thinking about it, though, before we move on, have we realized, like, has anyone thought about the fact that they tease Sombra and then release Ana and then Sombra, right? Because Sombra...
They tease Doomfist and then they release Orisa and then
Doomfist. And, I mean, to an extent, characters are going kind of hand in hand. Like, the teasers lean towards a little bit of both. So do you think when we start getting teasers, we're going to get teasers for essentially 2 different heroes and potentially get them both at BlizzCon?
Possibly. Adding 3 heroes to a competitive game at once, really... I just don't see them releasing more than 1 hero at once because of the competitive scene and how that really shakes things up, trying to balance the game around 3 new heroes being a part of the meta.
I'm just saying 2.
Just 1.
Like,
or 3 or 2. I was thinking, of Genji, D.Va, and Mei when they got released, but...
So, I agree with that, but at the same point, Blizzard can be like, well, competitive hasn't started yet. Is Overwatch League live?
It will be probably by this winter, was the plan. So.
It's also been a while since we've had a CGI cinematic. So, Sombra. Yeah. So, I can't remember who's the AI character that's supposed to be coming out at some point.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember. The dude who was in the comic with Doomfist.
Oh no, I was thinking of...
Maximilian?
No, well, it might be. I was thinking of... Is it Winston's...
Oh, Athena.
I get the impression, like, Athena might be coming out of BlizzCon. That's my gut instinct for some reason. And I feel that BlizzCon's close enough where they might announce a character with a cinematic. So, we might not hear anything till then anyways.
If they do release 2, I hope the cinematic has both in it. For example, like, do something crazy with Maximilian, and then Athena shows up to stop him.
Or like, maybe it's just a cinematic where Winston's playing around with the voice settings on Athena and gets it set permanently to Terry Crews.
Yes.
Terry Crews is Athena. Confirmed.
We're confirmed. All right. Moving on. Let's leave the Overwatch conversation. Okay. Terry Crews is Athena. All right. Last bit of news. It's kind of more. This was actually kind of revealed a couple of weeks back. But the Netherlight Crucible is a thing. It's the newest form of artifact progression in this patch 7.3, and it's going to be on this magical spaceship that you ride to Argus. Just this past week, I downloaded the PTR and I've been playing around with it myself. I did not play very far because I realized immediately how story-centric it was, and I'm like, I don't want to play this twice, so I'm going to wait. But I did have a chance to see the Netherlight Crucible, and it's really weird, guys. So it's just basically a new Big Forge thing that gets you a new talent tree where you're upgrading your relic slots on your weapon. Not the relics, the relic slots. And each one being able to have its own little talent tree that you're spending more artifact power to get all the abilities and fill up the tree. And the abilities are really interesting and they can be game-changing, but what's really weird, and I really hope Blizzard adds a way to change it, but currently there is not one, the abilities are random on what you have.
What, for the relic slots when you upgrade them?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, okay. We can work with that. That's not a totally bad thing. Is it?
I feel like that'll really upset min-maxers, because what if you just you don't get the ability that you want?
Delete your character, start again.
Yeah. I guess. Maybe that'll change. Maybe it's already changed. I don't think so, though. It's very interesting. I mean, but just an example, they've got some paladin abilities listed here, like light speed, haste increased by 650, and movement speed increased by 650. That's just a talent that you can upgrade. It's pretty interesting. Infusion of light, your harmful spells and abilities have a chance to deal 1,000 additional holy damage, and your helpful spells and abilities have a chance to heal for 1,000. So there are going to be some pretty decent buffs going in here. And obviously those numbers were placeholders. 1,000 really means nothing as far as damage and healing goes right now, but so there could be some pretty significant abilities here that you're going to want to get. So I really hope Blizzard implements some sort of reroll feature that probably costs you 5 billion artifact power. But
do you know much about
have
this?
Have you guys had a chance to look at it at all?
I haven't. I've stayed well away from it.
I'm trying to figure out how exactly it works, and it's really weird.
Yeah, but you can actually have, from my understanding, I may be wrong here. If you're listening, correct me if you're wrong on Twitter. But it seems like you can have the same abilities as others. The tiers, or the little talent trees, are based on the relic slot. So there's holy ones, there's fel ones, there's iron ones. So all the different relic slots have different trees based on the type of relic slot.
So,
and
like,
each
for example,
one has a random set of abilities that you can have in there.
So, like a balanced druid, I think, can have potentially the same fire ability as a fire mage.
Yes, I believe so. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they're class abilities. I think they are
just
like
the general abilities that you can share in some respects.
Mm-hmm. From
That's
what
cool.
it looks like on here, it's like tier 2 is general based on the slot, so mages and balanced roads could have the same thing potentially, but then the tier 3 is class specific or spec specific. But granted, this is also an early build, so I'm not sure how much of that's actually accurate information and how much is changed.
So here's the thing: it's also not another thing, which we'll talk about in the discussion, but it's not a really early build. The PTR is very, very far along, surprisingly. Everything that's changing lately has just been minor tweaks. Like, they're very close to done with patch 7.3 already. Very
really?
interesting. Yep.
Can I just jump in? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fact we're getting a new legendary item, this insignia. So the effects that increases the effects of light and shadow powers granted by the Netherlight Crucible. I don't know if that's the only legendary that's coming in, but it seems to be, if it's increasing abilities of the Netherlight Crucible by 50%, that sounds like a pretty big buff. And it screams to me something that might be required for min-maxing. So are we going to get a raise in the legendary cap, do you think?
No,
or
we're not. No, they're going to stay at 2. They even said that in the Q&A. It's going to stay at 2. And I think it just depends. It's going to depend on what abilities you have, whether you're going to want that or not. I don't know. I think it's frustrating. I'm personally getting really frustrated with the artifact grind at this point. I mean, I feel like Concordance was a good way to just kind of say, all right, we're done with the AP grind. Like, you can just upgrade Concordance naturally as you get AP. You don't have to feel like you have to go out and farm for it anymore. Ridiculous amounts. You'll just get Concordance by raiding or do whatever you do in the game. And that felt good, because it's just like an endless carrot on a stick. You won't ever get to the end. You'll just keep upgrading, and that's good. Now this is all right. Now I got to go right back onto farming every possible source of AP as fast as I can to get all this stuff upgraded. Potentially have to reroll my abilities.
Relic slot 3 upgrades. The relic slots upgrade at different artifact levels. Relic slot 1 upgrades to level 2 at 61. Relic 2 slot 2 upgrades at artifact level 64, and then the third one is at artifact level 67. So we've got that 27 artifact levels before we've got access to all our max relic slots, which just to me seems, I'm sure there's a lot of people who could just do that in the first couple of days, but to me that sounds incredibly daunting. Maybe I'm not. Again, I haven't played it, so maybe they completely fixed that with the new system, the catch-up mechanic. But
it's an interesting form of post-progression. I forgot what we were necessarily saying. I lost track, but
just the artifact levels, and it seems daunting.
Yeah, 67 artifact level 67, and that's ridiculous. Yeah, go on, Gary.
Out of here, so 67 is how you upgrade them, or like getting artifact levels is how you upgrade the slots, right? So if you pump AP into the weapon, it raises the artifact level, which means you get more slots in this new progression system, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I understand. It's very strange still.
You'll be spending like 50 trillion artifact power just to get like halfway up that, won't you?
Yeah. I mean, granted, we are going to be up to 50 AP knowledge, but still, I mean, it's... Yeah,
the numbers are crazy. I know it's a percentage in a sense. It's not really a number, but you know, when people are like showing tokens they get from World Quest with like 117 million artifact power, you sit and think, this is nuts now.
We're gonna have to see ultimately like how powerful the abilities are, what abilities we all have on our classes, and ultimately determine if we want to chase this carrot on a stick, essentially. Yes. But it's hard to tell. It's very. I guess they're just trying to keep you engaged, ultimately, and we'll see how it works out. But now, in the meantime, it is time for discussion of the week.
What's a Drenna anyhow? Can I drink it?
Discussion of the week.
All right, it's time for discussion of the week, and so today we're going to continue talking about World of Warcraft in the discussion of the week. And this theory is not a theory of my own, for once, but it's a theory that once I heard it, I definitely agree with it, and I wanted to share it with the community. So this theory comes from probably, I'll just do a little, I guess, community spotlight here, probably one of my new favorite WoW YouTubers. They're a couple. They are Teliesin and Evertail. You can find them on YouTube. If you're familiar with H3 Productions, they kind of have that thing going on, just the husband and wife doing a YouTube channel together about whatever they want to talk about. And they're funny. They're really funny. But anyway, they brought together the theory, or they pointed out the fact anyway, that since patch 7.1, every subsequent patch has been released exactly 77 days apart. Exactly. And if this were to continue from patch 7.2.5 to 7.3, then that would put 7.3 on August 29th, 1 day short of exactly a year from Legion's launch, which would then put on Taurus's, the actual raid patch release, the following week after BlizzCon. The timing seems too perfect.
Hang on, sorry, say that bit again about BlizzCon?
So if they follow the 77 days, so it would put 7.3 Argus patch release on the day before exactly a year after Legion releases, on August 29th. Then on Taurus raid patch, 7.3.5, 77 days later would be a week after BlizzCon.
Okay.
The timing just seems very good.
That's overly convenient.
Yeah, it is. It's so convenient. I feel like I've got to verify it elsewhere. Like 11 weeks for every patch.
Yeah. That's what it's been since Karazhan.
Okay, I'm going to verify this. Not that I don't doubt this. It's just I've got to see it with my own eyes. Just because that, if so, I don't know. So yeah, it's just incredibly convenient. I'm a bit shocked. I'll be honest. I'll stop talking. I'm incredibly shocked at that.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't. I had to double check myself to see, like, wow, that's amazing. So the final patch, or the final big content patch, coming out exactly a year after Legion, it makes a lot of sense. But the other question then posed by these guys was, do you think they would follow 77 days with the expansion patch as well? Like, because that would put the new expansion release in February.
Blizzard's going to Gamescom again this year, right?
Yes, they said they're having a presence there.
I mean, it wouldn't be bad timing. Especially if it's 77 days, February. Yeah, well, I half wonder if we won't get a 7-4, honestly, before we get a expansion patch.
We've already talked about the ending of this patch. You know, you can go back and listen to it, but how do they follow it up except with like a precursor patch to the next expansion?
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Because this is obviously the end, right? The Argus patch and the Antorus raid it's the end. But how else can they continue the Legion theme after this?
Yeah, if they do a 7-4, I think it'll focus as
a pre-patch, basically, like a really big pre-patch.
Yeah. Kind of like the Legion invasions were for Legion. And I could see them doing something like that again, especially if they go with like this whole sea themes, Naga invasions on coastal cities.
Well, okay, so now I'm actually having a random theory. This is actually out of nowhere. But bear with me. What if in the newest patch, because they've already leaked leveling gear, what if in the patch before the actual expansion comes out, we go to Kulturas and we actually can start leveling up before the expansion? We even like go to like 112, 113 before the new expansion's even out.
It's like an invasion event, effectively.
Kind of
taking the same mechanic.
Yeah,
that would be a really interesting idea. I don't know how it would work, but I'm not Blizzard, and I feel like that's a really cool idea that Blizzard could probably find a workaround for. So yes? Question mark?
Because I definitely believe Blizzard is going to follow the 77-day rule as closely as possible, because that's what they've been doing, and they have promised us no content droughts. So if the final raid of Legion releases in November, we're going to have something by February. Whether that be the pre-patch to the next expansion or a filler patch, even if it's a smaller patch, the Ruby Sanctum, Grommy Sanctum, whatever. Something like that to fill the void.
The problem is, the only thing I've got the closest, and I know Blizzard's always, it said it wants to get content out quicker, and it said that about patches and expansions, but the closest we've ever had an expansion release date has been 14 months, and that was back when Wrath was released. So apart from that, it's pretty much been 2 years steady from then. So do you think it's ready? Do you think the expansion would be ready by that point?
Potentially. I mean, we've heard stories since Mists of Pandaria that the World of Warcraft team has like doubled in size back then. And when Warlords came out, we didn't necessarily know where that work went, but now we know that actually like half the team was working on Warlords and half the team was working on Legion. So now I can imagine that we probably have maybe only a quarter, maybe a third of the World of Warcraft team that's actually been producing the current patch cycle of content, while the rest of the team has been working on the new expansion. So,
and now they're shifting even more resources,
right?
Because at this point they don't need any new assets, because they've already got Antorus essentially up and running. It's balanced done, at this point.
And yeah, that's what I was saying when we were talking about in the news of the week. It's done. I mean, they've just been doing minor tweaks once a week on the PTR. Like the patch notes have not been huge. It's like it's already ready for release in the end of August.
This is a very strange conversation to have. I also want my Tinker again. Thanks for that. Keep reminding me about all this stuff.
Probably not going to happen.
Still hate you.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't think we're going to hear about it at Gamescom. If we do, I will be pleasantly surprised. I think Blizzard's going to keep the expansion announcement for BlizzCon and then say it's coming, by Q2 at the latest of next year.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing them announce it like they did at Gamescom for Legion. I would prefer they didn't, to be completely honest, because I want to be there to rub it in the face of, all my nerdy friends that I was there for the announcement. But overall, like, how they did it with Gamescom actually worked out really well with Legion. Like, hey, we're going to give you just enough information for you to start freaking out. And then at BlizzCon, we're just going to tell you how everything's going to work and give you so much detail about it. We're going to blow your mind. And that's what they did. Like, they delivered.
But what did they announce that at BlizzCon, though? Like, if that was your first time at BlizzCon, was the year before Legion came out. Do you remember them announcing anything? New that we didn't know about that year?
I haven't seen a big announcement yet, honestly.
Yeah. So I mean, they had the Warcraft trailer, stuff like that. But I think Blizzard just really needs that big announcement. Like, it's been since 2014 BlizzCon when they announced Overwatch.
Don't worry, they'll announce Warcraft 4.
No. I think they got to have something. I don't think, unless they do announce their secret project, I think they'd want to save their big announcement for BlizzCon, just to have that wow factor again. The wow factor.
But at that point too, like, they don't really need it. Like, so we're looking at this going, it could very possibly be announced at Gamescom, which would mean essentially no big announcements at BlizzCon. And we're still willing to pay ungodly amounts of money to go to BlizzCon anyways. So, do they really need it? I mean, we want it for our own selfish reasons.
Right. No, you're right. They don't need it. God, I just remember... I'm just thinking back to now when they announced Legion. I was working that day. I was literally driving across the state to get to a job site, and I saw that it was being announced. I pulled over the work vehicle, and as soon as I had cell phone service, and watched all the announcement videos and stuff about Legion, and then kept working. I don't want to have to do that again. I don't want to have to miss the announcement. I like watching it live, but that is also, again, a selfish reason.
Yeah.
I've been checking the numbers while you guys have been chatting, and they're right. They just...
It's 77 days.
77 days. I had to change the dates because I thought maybe it got stuck on 77 days, but no, it is right.
Yeah. I mean, either way, I 100% believe that Argus is going to be released on August 29th. It's just too fitting, a year later from Legion. 77 days, it's too perfect. It would make perfect sense for that.
It's super good timing too, honestly. Like,
yeah, I mean, and look at us, look at just if you want to wonder how people are progressing through Tomb of Sargeras, just look at our raid group. I mean, you wouldn't call us hardcore. We're just we're like a little bit over casual. We're just we play the game and we're pretty good at it, but we're not really hardcore by any means. And A team is what we're about to be 8 of 9 heroic. I think we'll definitely kill Avatar.
Yeah.
B team is already 9 of 9 normal and 2 of 9 heroic. I mean, so progression is going really smoothly, even for average guilds like us.
Yeah, and we've still got a bunch of progression left because we've got 11 more weeks after 7.3
after 7.3, yeah.
So.
But with the Netherlight Crucible and stuff, it'll only get easier because we'll have this whole new thing that we're pumping into our artifacts, getting more and more powerful.
Which is kind of what happened with 7.2 and 7.2.5, honestly,
right,
too,
right.
because the empowered traits are so beneficial. So I think I really do like the cycling of these patches, and it provides enough time without creating a point where raids get stale. Granted, that also depends a little bit on your progression, because if you clear 9 of 9 heroic and don't go into mythic like week 1, I'm sure Tomb of Sargeras is already boring for you. But when you're actually progressing and you're in content that is at your skill level, then it's fantastic. And it gives you enough time to gear up and get better to finish the raid and not starve you of content at the same time.
Yeah. Britzza, I know me and Gary have been both kind of spilling out our thoughts and ideas. What I want to hear your final thoughts on the 770 days theory. What do you think is going to happen before we move into 20 questions?
Well, I've just been checking stuff on Wowpedia release dates and that. If this is true, if Blizzard trained all those development people all through Warlords and said when they released Legion and said, right, we are going to release a new patch every 77 days, that is huge. And it's huge for a number of reasons. One, it guarantees you a 5-patch cycle every year. So you can get to 8.3 just in time to announce the new expansion just a year on from when you release it. So they would be able to achieve exactly what they set out at Legion by doing that. But the big thing for us is that it means we can start to tailor our play styles based on those release windows, because I think one of the biggest problems WoW has is that people play, and like you say, we chase that carrot on a stick, we grind through rep, but we never know when we're going to see the next decent carrot or when we're going to, get that next big challenge. So that's why people unsubscribe and almost just forget about it, because they don't know when that patch is coming out. If I play for 7 weeks and I go, right, I've done everything I want to do in WoW, and I drop off, I could possibly leave knowing that if I come back in 2 or 3 weeks, I can get ready for the next patch. And that's something huge, I think, for the player base. So if it sticks to that, I think it's fantastic. I would love it to do that. Whether it's like maybe they increase it in increments with the expansions, like maybe it's 88 days with the next one, and they just start stretching it, who knows? But yeah, I think it's incredible. And like you guys have covered it off perfectly. I think where it fits into BlizzCon and Gamescom and other conventions, it gives them a nice all-round calendar to announce things, which is pretty cool.
Right on. Well, let us know what you think, obviously, in Twitter or on Twitter. Let us know what you think. I mean, again, I think it's very likely. I think the biggest question here would be the expansion release, whether it's going to tie in with the patch cycle seems obvious. Whether the expansion follows the patch cycle is what's really in question here. And we will see. We'll find out, in a couple weeks with Gamescom, whether they announce it or not. So, either way, it's time. Britzza, roll the new sounder!
Geeks of Azeroth, the moment has arrived. Have you studied the lore?
Studied the lore? I am the lore!
It's time for Blizzard 20 questions.
What a sounder that is. It's amazing. Thank you, Coltrane, again for the amazing sounders. They are awesome. It's time for Blizzard 20 questions. And unless one of you guys had an idea, I already have one in mind. Figured I'd go a little bit easier on you.
I have one in mind. It's not easier, though.
All right, let's go. You know what? Let's go with Gary. Let's go with Gary because I haven't been in the game for a little bit, so let's go ahead and do this.
All right.
What have you done to us, Tarley? What have you done?
I guess I'll start off. Gary, as long as you fill out the notes.
Yep.
I will start off. Is this from World of Warcraft? Or is this from Warcraft?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. We'll do it in 5 now. Yeah. Is this a character in Warcraft?
No.
Is it an item?
No.
Is it a zone?
Rephrase the question. Let me rephrase that question for you. Is it a location?
Yes, it is a location.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
is this a location? Is this a location introduced to the game in Wrath of the Lich King or after?
Yes.
Okay, I said introduced to the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so rephrase it. What?
No, it still fits.
Okay.
Is it okay? Was this location introduced during or after Warlords?
No.
Okay, so Wrath or Pandaria.
Is this location exclusive to World of Warcraft?
Well,
no, it's not.
Okay.
So what are you thinking, Tarley? I'm thinking
in
Hearthstone.
Can you visit this location?
Yes.
That's probably a dumb question, but whatever. Okay, you can go there.
No, it's a smart question because there are places out there that we still can't visit in game.
So between Wrath and Wad, is this location on Pandaria?
No.
Was there anything introduced on the other continents from Pandaria? I don't think so.
No.
Okay, well, let's assume it's right.
Is this... Well...
We've never got it wrong when we've presumed.
Is this location on Draenor?
No.
Okay. So Eastern Kingdoms or Kalimdor? Or Northrend? We're already on 11. Wow, okay. You go ahead. I feel like I'm wasting questions.
No,
Is this a raid? Or is this an instance? Is this an instance?
Yes, it is an instance.
Okay.
Okay.
It's only one of 50 possible answers now.
Well, introduced between Wrath and Wad, an instance that's not on Pandaria.
Well, it's not during or afterwards, yeah, so it can only... Oh, okay, that's a good point. So...
And it's not exclusive to World of Warcraft, the location.
I mean, I'm thinking presumably it must
Is this instance in the Twilight Highlands?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking Grim Patrol.
I'm with you.
Was this instance released in Wrath of the Lich King?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I've gone completely nuts on expansions. I was thinking Pandaria came after Wrath. Oh, okay, I've helped. I take credit.
Is this a 5-man instance?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it Stratholme?
No.
Damn it! What?
We're up to 15 already. So it is a 5-man, released in Wrath. So that should give us quite a fair few to guess from.
But that is not exclusive to World of Warcraft. The location, keep that in mind. It's got to also be in Warcraft.
Yeah, but okay, I'm thinking out loud here. Ice Crown is not exclusive to Warcraft because it's in Hearthstone.
Right.
That's not a 5-man. That's not a 5-man.
But there are 5-man's instances in Ice Crown. I just can't remember their names.
The one where Jaina had a mental breakdown. That one, yeah.
Where you're getting chased by Arthas down the hallway. Yeah, that one was amazing.
That was a good
I can't remember what it was called.
I remember all but one of those.
Is this one of the Ice Crown dungeons?
Not an Ice Crown.
Okay, alright. Well, that eliminates 3 possibilities of Wrath 5-mans. What? Okay, now I have to just think... the spider location, like the Anubarak places, are those in other WoW instances?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
What are you trying to think of?
I don't... Lost City? No, that's not what it's called.
No, that's Kata. Which would count, wouldn't it? No, sorry, released in Wrath.
It's Wrath.
It's definitely Wrath. Right, let's just go through our head all the 5-man instances in Northrend. So you've got the Nexus.
But what places are awesome? Not. Wait. What if he's the Nexus and that's like the Heroes of the Storm Nexus and that's what he's referring to?
Oh, it could be. I think we take a shot at that one because he's cheesy enough to do that.
I don't know. The way he's laughing, I think he's just like, that's a funny idea, but that's not what I thought of.
Gary, is it the Nexus?
It's not the Nexus.
No! That was a waste of a question. Damn. Okay, not the Nexus.
At least it's ruled out of 5-man. There's the Troll one, which I can't remember. Zul something Majiki.
Zul'Farrak.
Zul'Farrak. Is it?
No.
Zul'Farrak?
ZF is Tanaris.
That's Tanaris, yeah.
What?
It's the level 41. Zul'Farrak? Zul'Farrak?
Zul'Grath? No.
Just
Zuldrak?
Zuldrak.
Zuldrak.
Yeah.
That's it. The fact.
Well, since he didn't know what it was,
yeah.
It's not that. That's a good way of eliminating. There we go.
We'll quiz him.
What? It's not. Oh, this is a tough one. Could be like Halls of Lightning or Halls of Lightning.
Yeah, it could be any of the halls. Ulduar didn't have any sort of 5-man support in instances, did it?
Yeah, the Halls of Lightning.
Oh, the halls, sorry. Oh, right, yeah.
That is Ulduar, but again, not exclusive to World of Warcraft. We got 3 questions left. I feel like we should have tried to narrow down what else it was in before we got this far down.
Okay. Is there a map in Heroes, potentially? Is that...
No, there's like no Warcraft-based maps. Is this from an RTS as well?
Yes.
Okay.
2 more.
So it's definitely in Warcraft.
Or StarCraft.
Well, I have to. I feel like I'm drawing a blank here.
I'm rushing through the Warcraft 3 storyline in my head. Introduced during and after Wrath, but it's not exclusive. But I know you paused when you said that, so.
Well, so he confirmed that it is in one of the RTSs. I'm
trying to think of a 5-man instance. What's the...
I mean, technically, you could go with Violet Hold just because Dalaran is in other.
Nah. I'm
Warcraft
trying to think
games.
What's the Under Kingdom?
Gundrak? No, that's
no. The one where I think you were hitting something with
Kahet, the old kingdom.
Yeah, well, because they travel through that, don't they?
There's Azul Narab.
If it's on in Wrath, it's got. I just feel it's got to be Northrend based. So, in which case, it's.
Don't ask that as a question because
no, I'm not.
There are no other instances.
But it must be something Arthas went through in the Warcraft 3.
Well, that's why I asked for the Stratholme, but he said it's not Stratholme. That's the only one I can think of is the Culling of Stratholme because that's where Arthas in Warcraft 3 and he goes through. I mean, you're playing that exact mission. That's the only one that makes sense.
Yeah, but you also play Arthas when he's trying to get through to the Frozen Throne and beat Illidan. That's when he goes through with the New Barak. I'm trying to think if that's. But
we know it's not the Forge of Souls, Pit of Sauron, and Halls of Reflection.
It's not the Nexus.
It could be TOC, but that wasn't. Was that in Warcraft at all? No. Oh, we need to guess. We need to. Oh.
The worst bit is we can't even be 100% certain it's on Northrend.
There's no other instance from that besides the one I guessed. There's no
other one.
That's not Northrend. So
right, we can rule out everything else.
Is this a troll or no? Is this a spider-based dungeon?
Yes.
Is it Azul Narab?
It is.
God, that was annoying. Okay, we got it though. We win. That was just complete shot in the dark. I don't remember Azul Narab being in other Warcraft games, but I'll take it.
He goes there to enslave a New Barak.
Yeah.
And that's when, during the Frozen Throne campaign, that's why you unlock the Crypt Fiend or whatever.
At least we got it. We got it on question 20, Britzza, but we did it. We are successful. We did not lose. All right, mine would have been a lot easier, but anyway, thank you everybody. I am very stressed. I was pulling my hair out of that one. Thank you everybody for listening. Of course, the music that you heard in our sounders is copyrighted by Blizzard, so don't steal it. That's just for us and Blizzard to use. As always, you can contact the show, or you can always watch the show or listen to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Twitch, usually when my computer's working. You can always contact us on Twitter at Geeks of Azeroth. You can find me personally at Tarley_pause. That is with a Z. Britzza, where can we find you?
You can find me at Britzza_EG.
That's with 2 Z's.
I like to treat myself.
SleepyGary, where can we find you?
At Epic Geeks Gary.
All right. And, of course, you can always contact the show with messages, questions, shout-outs. Send all of that to geeksofazerotheg@gmail.com. And check the link of the show. Britzza will make sure to include our Discord channel link. We have a Discord channel. We want all of our listeners, if you want to join us in Discord, we have conversations in there every single day. You want to talk to us directly, Discord is the new way to do that. So hop into Epic Geeks Discord. Have some fun with us. Otherwise, check out epicgeeks.co.uk for all the content we create. And we will see you next time. Same place, same time. Everybody, have a great week in Azeroth. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Epic Geeks Network. To find out more about our other gaming podcasts, head to epicgeeks.co.uk.